Welcome to the channel, thank you for checking out today's video. In today's video we're going to be checking out the Hollyland Mars 4K wireless transmission system. Now, to give you the basics of what this system can do, it can transmit 4K video footage up to a distance of 150 meters, completely wireless. Now, in the box we get two devices that look very similar. One is a transmitter and one is a receiver. As you can see from the sticker, we get up to 4K support. Both units can be powered either by the Sony NPF style batteries or via the USB-C port. Now, the receiver looks almost identical to the transmitter but is marked RX for receiver, and both the HDMI port and SDI port are both outputs, whereas our transmitter is marked TX and both of these ports are inputs. In the box we also get a mains power adapter, and this can be used either for the receiver or the transmitter. Now, we also get a cold shoe mount which can be attached to the receiver or the transmitter. Now, it would have been nice of Hollyland to include two of these cold shoe mounts, as we have two devices, but they've only supplied one, which is a little bit odd. We also get a spare antenna, and it's worth pointing out that the antennas can be removed from the device. Anyway, let's show you the basics of what these can do by attaching them to a camera and a monitor. So the standard way to attach a monitor to our camera is by HDMI cable. Now, we're limited by how far away the monitor can be from our camera by the length of our cable. But sometimes it's just not practical to run long lengths of HDMI cable across your filming location. And what happens if you have multiple clients or a director or film crew that want to see the footage as it's being recorded? Well, that's where the Mars 4K wireless transmission system comes into its own. Simply by unplugging our monitor and plugging in the transmitter. Then we take the Mars 4K receiver, plug in a HDMI cable from this to our monitor, turn on all the devices. Now we have a wireless link from our camera to our monitor. And the great thing about this system, as previously mentioned, we now have a range of up to 150 meters of 4K video signal without any extra cables. Now, another great feature about this wireless transmission system is you can transmit the 4K video signal to up to 5 different mobile devices using the Hollyland app that comes supplied with these devices. And the great thing about this is it turns your mobile device, like your smartphone or tablet, into a fully packed functioning camera monitor. We get all the tools that are built in as standard on expensive camera monitors. We get waveform, histograms, vector scope, focus peaking, zebra stripes, overlays, LUTs. Basically everything you would expect from a camera monitor is now available on your smart device. Oh, and it also includes a recorder, meaning that now you can record externally from your camera to your smartphone. Very nicely done, Hollyland. So how do I actually use this wireless transmission system? Let me show you. In my daily role, I have to film different events, such as lectures or shows or special performances. And in our venue, we have a lighting setup, an audio setup and a video setup. We can now send our video feed directly to our monitor, which is now mounted into the controls nest at the back of the venue. And we can work alongside the audio engineer and lighting engineer to ensuring that the production is of the highest value and of the highest quality. Before we had the Hollyland 4K wireless system, camera operator would be completely separate from the lighting engineer and audio engineer, and he would be working completely independently to record the shows or performances. But whilst we've tested this system inside, let's take it outside and give it some real world tests. So we've headed out with a Mars 4K transmission system, we've set it up on the camera and monitor, and we're going to test out its range. So let's start walking and see how far away we can get. Now, I'm recording on an action camera here, and if you look down you can see the feed from the camera, which is also recording, onto the monitor. Now, I'm using HDMI ports on the transmitter and receiver, but as already mentioned before, this comes with SDI ports also, should you wish to use these instead of HDMI. Both the transmitter and receiver come with a 1/4 inch mounting screw on the bottom. As you can see here, I'm just using a simple monitor mount to attach the receiver to our monitor with a NATO rail. Anyway, let's keep walking and see if we can get the claimed range of 150 meters. Now, Hollyland say that the range of 150 meters has to be line of sight from the transmitter to the receiver, so we'll be testing that out also later in the video. Now we're just coming up to some markings on the floor, which is really handy because now we can confirm the distance using Google Maps. Let's take a look. So as we can see on Google Maps, we're roughly 87 meters away from the transmitter. Let's keep going and see if it can hit that 150 mark. And as we continue across the church grounds, I noticed that we crossed the crest of a hill and now the ground slopes downwards, which means that the transmitter and receiver ain't going to have line of sight. But it looks like we're still getting good signal, so I'm going to keep on walking. And we're still getting very strong signal, so let's double check our distance. So going off Google Maps measuring tool, we're approximately 140 meters away from the transmitter that's mounted on top of the camera, and we're still getting very good signal, so let's keep on going. Now if you're wondering what all these white lines are on the ground, no, it's not a football pitch. The church here in Dunstable, known as Dunstable Priory, was founded by Henry I in 1132. These white markings mark the original footprint of the church, or back then the cathedral that it once was, and as you can see it was much larger than it is today. And just as I say that, I notice that the recording time on the monitor has frozen, which means we've lost signal now to the transmitter. Let's head back in the direction of the transmitter to see if it reconnects again and get a final distance measurement. And as I'm walking back towards the transmitter, I notice that the screen is starting to move again, which means to me we're getting signal back again. Just about here, I notice that the timer on the recording starts again. So let's move back slightly just to get that final calculation or measurement. And just about here is where I'm going to say that I'm happy with the final measurement. And as you can see from Google Maps again, our distance is approximately 159 meters from the transmitter to our receiver. Now, like I previously mentioned, Hollyland say that you've got to have line of sight from the transmitter to the receiver. As you can see from this clip here, this is directly from the camera recording. I've gone over the crest of the hill and the transmitter and receiver were not kept in line of sight. So I'm quite confident in saying you're going to get 150 meters minimum from this transmission system. Now one of the big questions might be, does it work through obstacles or through walls? Well, whilst I'm at this 900-year-old church, let's go find out. So as you can see, we've got the camera now set up facing the church. And what I'm going to do is walk around the perimeter of the church with the monitor and receiver, seeing how far we can get and see if we can get a constant signal through this 900-year-old church. I don't think this is going to work, but let's give it a shot. Now as we go around the side of the church, I'm absolutely gobsmacked to see that we're still getting connection from the transmitter to the receiver, and our feed is still very strong, even though line of sight from the transmitter to the receiver has been lost. As we go around the next corner of the church, I notice that the recording time stops on our monitor, which means we've lost signal. I try to head back again, trying to reconnect the transmitter to the receiver, but this time it is completely lost connection. I have to head back to the camera, switch off both the receiver and the transmitter to reconnect them. After reconnecting them, I only thought it was fair that we give it another shot to see how far I can get round the side of the church and to see exactly where we lost communication. But this time, soon as I went round the corner and lost line of sight from the transmitter to the receiver, again I lost communication. So whilst Hollyland are correct in saying this has a range of 150 meters line of sight, just be cautious. Should there be potential for losing line of sight between the transmitter and receiver, you will potentially lose communication between them. So what's our final conclusion then to the Hollyland Mars 4K wireless transmission system? Well, these have turned into essential pieces of equipment that we can no longer live without. Whereas before we were limited by long cables, these have now freed us up and made our work production flow much simpler. And it's not just for performances where these have turned into essential pieces of equipment. We now use them to record sports events or show clients photography work on large TV style monitors in real time, or transmit live video feed onto large projectors. Since using them, we've had no reliability issues at all. As already shown in our distance test, as long as you keep line of sight from the transmitter to the receiver, you're not going to have any problems at all. So if you're looking to free yourself from cables, then the Hollyland Mars 4K wireless transmission system comes highly recommended. Now both these units come in a combined package, or you can buy them both individually. We will leave links to both down below in the description and in the top pinned comment. It's also worth noting that Hollyland actually make a monitor with the same technology built inside, which we'll probably do a review of in the future. So if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. But that's going to wrap up this video. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next video. See you soon, everybody.